Hello, everyone. Welcome to Court with Krissy and Linda. We've got a dangerous dog hearing, and this is in Michigan, where there's no death penalty for humans. So it should be the same for pets. Right, Linda? You haven't heard of a dangerous cat case, have you? Anyways, we are 100% Team Roxy. We hope you like it. Court with Krissy and Linda is now in session.
Now calling case number 25C2852. This is Miles Giroux versus Elaine McQueen and any other resident or owner. And it helps if she's actually in here first. Okay, let me try that again. 25C2852, Miles Giroux versus Elaine McQueen. So can I have appearances for the record, please, starting with the plaintiff?
Certainly, Your Honor. Robert Mullen on behalf of the plaintiff, Mr. Miles Giroux. Could you state your name for the record?
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. Miles Giroux.
Okay, thank you. And I did see that I believe your wife has signed in as well. Shall we have
Correct.
her? Okay.
Yeah, I should correct myself. I'm appearing on behalf of Afton Walensky as well as Miles Giroux. They're both mine.
Okay, thank you. State your name, ma'am.
Hi, my name's Afton Walensky.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. McQueen, please unmute and state your name.
Yes, my name is Elaine McQueen.
Okay, thank you. So we are here today for a show cause hearing in this matter. And this is to be a hearing to show cause why, Ms. McQueen, your dog should not be destroyed as being a dangerous animal. So I am in receipt of exhibits from both sides, which, if I am correct in understanding this, you have all seen each other's exhibits. Is this correct?
I've seen the exhibits that were submitted. I think it was yesterday.
Okay, yes.
And I have seen what was sent to me initially with the complaint and summons.
Okay. So before we get started, one order of business is that as a district court magistrate, you will have the right to appeal my decision within 7 days of my making the decision, at which point the matter will be reheard by the district court judge. That'll be Judge Washington. Okay, so everybody knows that they have the right to appeal as needed. What I am going to do is swear in both sides and take testimony in this matter. So I will be taking testimony and any sort of witnesses, evidence, etc. that's going to be presented by the plaintiffs first, as they are the ones who filed the matter. Ms. McQueen, you are not to interrupt them. If you have any questions or anything, address them to me as the magistrate. You're also not to speak to each other. Okay. And once the plaintiff side has finished with their presentation, it will be your turn. Okay? So then what I am going to do is have everyone raise your right hands. So do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, to the best of your information, knowledge, and belief? Mr. Giroux?
I do.
Okay, Ms. Walensky?
I think she's having an issue with based on with Zoom.
Okay, then we will deal with that later. Ms. McQueen?
I do.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Giroux and Attorney Mullen, do you want to present your side of things first, please?
Sure. Your Honor, I don't think we do an opening in these. I think we go right to question and answer, or do you accept an opening on this?
I suppose if you have something that you want to say as an opening, then by all means. Otherwise, we can go right to question and answer.
I think I'd like to go to question and answer, and I think anything I could say at opening would be best served up in summation after maybe some of the facts and evidence have come in, versus making a bunch of statements that I haven't backed up at this point.
Okay.
Mr. Giroux is the first witness I'd like to call in this matter, and like him to testify. So, Mr. Giroux, do you own any dogs?
Yes, I have two dogs. Issa, an 8-year-old terrier, and Khufu, a 9-year-old Basenji mix.
On July, how long have you had those dogs?
I have had them since June of this year.
And on July 10th, did you have the occasion to walk the dogs?
Yes, I did.
And were they on leashes?
Yes, they were.
And what was the route that you walked your dogs on that particular day?
So I live at Georgina and Ruth. I live on Georgina Street, and that day I had walked down Georgina all the way to Jeffrey, where Jeffrey and Georgina intersect. I made a right-hand turn onto Jeffrey Street at that point, and at that point the attack happened shortly after turning onto Jeffrey Street.
Now, how long had you walked the dogs before you encountered Miss McQueen's dog?
It would have been maybe 2 minutes at most. It's about 2 blocks from my house to Jeffrey and Georgina.
And can you describe when you first saw Miss McQueen's dog?
Yes, so the first house on the corner on Jeffrey, I saw the dog coming out from, she typically has a red SUV parked in the driveway, and I saw the dog come out from behind the red SUV, and this was when I was around the tree that is in front of that first house. I took maybe another couple steps forward, and then at that point completely stopped with both of my dogs on the leash as I saw the dog coming towards us. It was silent, but it was steadily coming towards us at this point.
And is it your testimony that the dog was not on any kind of secured leash or electric a collar?
No, there was no leash that I was aware of.
And was there anyone with the dog while it was out?
No, and I didn't quite yell, but I did call out kind of gently for the owner. I didn't want to call out in an aggressive manner because the dog wasn't making any noise. I didn't want to unintentionally incite the dog, but I was kind of going, "Hey, buddy, do you have an owner?" And no one was around.
How long between you first saw the dog and it made contact with you and your dogs?
I would say approximately 30 seconds.
And were you by yourself?
Yes, I was.
Was there anyone that you noticed that was out on the street or around when this occurred?
No, I did not see anyone.
And could you describe the dog that you encountered with both of your dogs?
Yes, so it's a large black dog. I did not know what the breed Cane Corso was, but the way I had described it prior to knowing the breed is that it had a face kind of like a Saint Bernard, but a body like a mini black bear.
Can you describe how big you think the dog is or how much it weighed?
I would guess that it weighs somewhere between 120 and 150 pounds.
How big are your dogs?
My dog Issa, the 8-year-old terrier, is 18 pounds. I would guess that she's, about 2 feet long. And then Khufu, the 9-year-old Basenji mix, he's about 26 pounds. He's also about 2 feet long, maybe a couple inches longer than that because he's slightly bigger than Issa.
When this dog approached your dog, did your dogs do anything?
Not that I recall. The dogs were certainly not barking at it. Issa may have been giving like a low kind of growl, but there was certainly no gestures towards the dog. They were sitting, at my side on the leashes.
Okay. At any point, did you see your dogs lunge at this dog or make an aggressive forward motion towards the dogs?
Absolutely not.
And did you see what this dog did before it encountered your dog?
Yes. So the dog steadily approached us. When I initially saw it come from, I'll take a step back. When I initially saw it come from behind the red car, it kind of sprinted into the second one, and then its pace slowed, and it kind of steadily came at us. We were about 2.5 houses away. We were just before the driveway on the second house onto Jeffrey. And the dog steadily approached us, and it got about 7 to 10 feet away, and it stopped. And at that point, it appeared to pick out Issa because Issa is a smaller dog that has a leg injury. Issa walks with a limp, and it beelined and within an instant, a blink of the eye, had Issa in its mouth, and it completely picked Issa up off the ground. And at the point that it was up off the ground, I could see Issa's flesh.
Did Issa sustain any injuries?
Yes, she received a massive laceration that after measuring it was somewhere between 8.5 and 9 inches long.
Was that her only injury?
She had an infection as well, but that would have been the primary injury. However, around the lacerations, there was a significant amount of bruising, and the bruising caused the skin to die off after, and a second wound formed about 6 days later on July 16th that required a second surgery.
So you took your dog to the vet,
Yes.
and what was the nature of that trip to the vet?
So the nature of the trip to the vet was an emergency appointment at the direction of the 911 operator that I called while I was on the scene.
And what, if any, treatment did they give your dog?
She had a emergency laceration repair where she was put under anesthetics for approximately 2 hours. She got out of the vet just a little bit before 10 o'clock that night. They had put sutures and sewed basically the gap in her skin together. And they had also put an intubation tube for the drainage that was to deal with some of the fluids coming from the infection, is how it was explained to us.
Do you have any photos of injury to your dog?
Yes, certainly.
Can you take a look at it? Let's see. I have one right here. Your Honor, if I may, this would be Plaintiff's Exhibit 1.
Okay. Would these be the same photos that were submitted as part of the initial filing?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I believe there may be a couple additional, but yes.
Okay.
Moment to get it pulled up. May I share my screen to publish it to the court, Your Honor, to show the court what I'm looking at?
Yes, you should be able to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yes.
Is that the laceration that your dog received
Yes, it is.
from Miss McQueen's dog?
Yes, that would have.
On July 10th.
Yes, that would have been taken on July 10th, sitting on the examination table at Lifeline ER, which is located on Prospect Road, just short of Michigan Avenue.
And did your dog have to get surgery?
Yes.
And how long did that surgery last?
It lasted approximately 2 hours. Like I had said, the dog got out just a little bit before 10 o'clock, and this incident happened just before 6:30. I would have been getting to the vet, sometime near 7 o'clock, probably just before. So I believe approximately 2 hours.
Is this the only care that your dog had received from the vet?
No, it's not.
What additional care did your dogs need? Did the other dog, Kofu,
Yes.
did Kofu get injured?
Yes, Kufu was injured.
How?
He had a relatively minor laceration on his skin. I would guess somewhere between 1 and 2 inches long. The vet had prescribed an antibiotic that we had put on it and had told us to do warm compresses. We ran through the antibiotic, and thankfully he had no issues or complications.
Okay.
Did you have any additional treatment for your dog besides the initial surgery?
Yes. So for Issa, we had a second surgery, which would have occurred, I believe July 22nd. On July 16th, a new wound had emerged, and that wound was initially small, but by the time it got to the 22nd, I would guess that wound had gotten to about 3 or 4 inches long. At that point, thankfully, the vet allowed us to text pictures to them so we could get updates in real time about when there was a need to treat this new injury. By the 22nd, the vet had decided we needed to bring it in for new sutures. And when the vet examined it, it was put under anesthesia again for a second procedure to re-sew the prior existing laceration and merge it with the new laceration that had formed while the first sutures were in place.
And the second injury to the dog, that was from the same incident, July 10th?
Yes, correct.
Prior to you walking your dog on July 10th, you had mentioned a limp of your dog.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Issa. Were there any other injuries?
No, Issa, to my knowledge, doesn't have any other injuries. We found out from receiving this that she did have some kind of tick issue, and the doctor prescribed a separate medication for the tick issue that was not related to this, but no other injuries other than a bad leg.
Any cuts or lacerations?
No, other than the 9-inch one.
Now, did your dogs do anything to provoke this dog to attack him?
Absolutely not.
During the attack, did anyone come out and take the dog or claim the dog? And I'm speaking about Miss dog.
No.
So when the incident ended, what happened to Miss McQueen's dog, if you know?
I do not know. I know there was some contact with animal control from speaking with the animal control officer, but I don't know the nature of it.
Do you have any pictures of the second wound from the second surgery that you could provide to the court?
Yes, I have a before and an after picture.
Can we see it?
Yes.
This would be, Your Honor, plaintiff's exhibit number 2, once we get to that picture. Okay. And that secondary injury, is that to the left of that picture, the extension of it?
So the secondary injury would be the one, if I don't know if you can see my mouse here, but
Yes.
this is where the initial laceration was, and you can see here some of the sutures here. This injury had formed down here, but eventually expanded to the line of the sutures, and this would have been, just prior to the new surgery. And this appears that this would have been a picture taken just I believe the day of the second surgery or the day before.
So this is, when we look at this picture, it's 12 days after the incident.
Yes.
Okay.
And
You have a picture of the injury after the first incident.
after the first, yes, I did.
Surgery.
This would be the picture after the first surgery where you can see the intubation tube and the fresh sutures there as the skin's trying to merge together.
And could we make this plaintiff's exhibit number 3, Your Honor?
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Giroux, did you have any out-of-pocket expenses from this incident?
Yes, we certainly did. We had out-of-pocket expenses for the initial surgery, the second surgery. We had an ointment refill that we had to get in between the 2 surgeries because we used an entire bottle of ointment in 7 days. And the day following the first surgery, which would have been July 11th, we had some necessary aftercare items for the confinement and treatment that we needed to do at home, where we purchased a syringe so we could force feed our dog, a liquid diet, some bone broth to water down her food so we could liquefy it in a blender. We had to get several surgical suits. And one of those pill shooters where you can shoot the pills for the medications into her mouth. There may have been another item or 2, but those are all that come to the top of my head at the moment.
And what was the out-of-pocket expense of all this treatment for your dog?
It would have been altogether, and this is not including the rabies vaccination, which she was due for at the time of this surgery, or the tick medication. It would have been $2,286.37, which would have included the 3 bills that I had from Lifeline, ER, and 2 receipts from the pet supply store buying the surgical suits and aftercare items I just discussed.
And Mr. Giroux, do you have receipts for those expenditures?
Yes.
That you have? Can we make that plaintiff's exhibit number 4? Can you produce those for the court?
Yes, give me just a moment to find it.
I just to be clear, I don't need to see those right now. I will.
Okay.
So, okay.
So don't share the screen then, Your Honor.
No, not at this point. Okay. Attorney Mullen, did you have any other questions?
A couple quick questions. How did this make you feel?
I was terrified when this happened. I've been very fortunate in my life not to personally witness very many violent occurrences. This was by far the most violent thing I've ever personally witnessed. I immediately called 911 when this happened for medical transport for Issa because I genuinely believed Issa was going to die from the injuries she sustained. I was terrified. I've been extremely resistant to walk down that block of Jeffrey since. I've done it once or twice. I've certainly never walked down that block again with our dogs, and I don't feel safe walking down that block currently due to the height of the fence. I'm concerned that this could happen again.
Did you have to take any time from work and care for your dog?
Yes, the Friday, so this happened on a Thursday, July 10th. That Friday, I had, I believe, approximately 4 meetings scheduled. I worked for myself, running my own law firm, and I had to clear my schedule that day to stay home to do care with Isa. And I actually didn't sleep the night of the incident due to being so worked up and having to care for the dog since she didn't sleep either.
Okay. Any other questions? Attorney Mullen.
Have you seen the King Corso dog that attacked your dogs since this has happened?
Yes, I have seen it once.
Where?
I saw it in Miss McQueen's backyard. It was laying by her side door in her driveway when I saw it.
Did it have any like leashes or collars or anything on it that you could see?
I didn't notice any restraints. It seemed to be free within its backyard. The fence was closed.
You notice any e-collar or anything like that?
I did not. There was no e-collar.
Just a second, Your Honor.
And just to be clear to Attorney Mullen, the court did order that the dog be surrendered to the Humane Society on July 17th.
Okay. And how long was it surrendered for?
I believe the dog is still there.
Okay. All right.
You're muted.
Oh, I don't think I have any more questions of Mr. Giroux at this time.
I have 3 questions at the moment, and then I will take testimony from Ms. McQueen. So my first question is, when you were walking down Jeffries with your dogs and you saw this dog that appeared to be loose, did you cross the street or did you stay on that sidewalk?
I stayed on that side of the sidewalk.
Okay. Thank you. And after the incident happened, and you, I believe, picked up Isa to get away, you said you didn't know what happened with the dog after you left. Did the dog follow you or anything that you were aware of?
No, so the dog did go back to Miss McQueen's yard. My other dog, Kufu, I guess we didn't get into this. When the dog had picked Isa up in its mouth, Kufu and I both kind of were approaching the dog. Kufu made contact with the other dog first, and Kufu's an odd dog. He can jump in kind of a funny way, and he chest bumped the dog kind of, and that got the dog to drop Isa. At that point, I went for Isa and started taking her towards the corner of Jeffrey and Georgina to get a safe distance away. I saw the dog bite Kufu, but at that, I didn't see anything that happened after that. When I turned around, when I was at the corner and felt I was a safe enough distance away to look back, Kufu was running towards me, and Miss McQueen's dog was going back towards its yard. So Kufu must have scared it away in the time that I was getting Isa away.
And when you grabbed Isa and went to the corner, how would you characterize how you moved? Were you running, walking quickly? What were you doing?
It was some mixture of sprinting and then kind of pacing back and forth, because at that point I was on the phone with 911 and I was hopeful they would be able to medically transport her because I knew she needed to get care quickly. So I stayed at the corner for a moment until I got confirmation from 911 that they couldn't do the medical transport and I needed to find a way to get her home myself.
Okay.
And at that point, I sprinted home with her in my arms down. That would have been exclusively down Georgina. And while all of this happened, both of their leashes came off, and I had to pick them up later that day on Georgina, but at the corner of Jeffrey and Georgina.
Okay. And last question, how is Isa now?
Isa's doing as well as can be expected right now. After the second surgery, it's been nothing but progress. The second sutures were taken out, I believe, August 5th. So right now there's still scabbing on the wound, but it's healing, and her limp is a little worse than it used to be prior to the attack. But other than that, her spirit's good. She's still our sweet girl.
Okay. Does she have a scar?
Yes, the scar would be approximately 8.5 to 9 inches long.
Do you have a picture of what she looks like now?
I have a picture of that scar, but it's isolated to just that area. It was taken on Monday.
Okay. If you've got that available, I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Okay, I'd be happy to show it to you. Give me just a moment, Your Honor. Come on. Okay. And this would have been the photo from Monday, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. McQueen?
Yeah. Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to start. I wasn't aware that Mr. Giroux was being represented by Attorney Mullen. Um, um, I thought that I was supposed to be notified if, in fact, the plaintiff would be having representation. Is that not the case? Or I don't know much about how court proceedings go. I thought that that was something that needed to happen, but
So there was an appearance filed. Attorney Mullen, did you send your appearance to Ms. McQueen?
I don't think so, Your Honor.
Okay.
Typically, I file the appearance with the court, and
Okay.
should I continue or?
Well, Ms. McQueen, would you, I suppose I can ask, would you like to proceed at this point, or were you looking to be represented as well?
Sorry, I just feel kind of blindsided because I thought that, you know, I wanted to explain everything so that we can get this over with so that my Roxy can come home possibly. She's been in the Humane Society for quite some time now. But I don't know um um I'll proceed because I would, if possible, want her home. I'll start by saying on July 10th, I am a registered nurse. I work at the VA hospital. I worked midnights that night on the 9th. So on the 10th, I was asleep the majority of the day to prepare for work the next night. The morning of July 10th, my gardener came and worked in my yard. And when he left, he did not secure the gate properly. I would like to bring into the court Exhibit D, which is his statement.
I'm going to object, Your Honor. That's hearsay unless he testifies to that statement.
Well, I can appreciate that, Attorney Mullen. I don't believe that the rules of admitting evidence are quite the same here as they would be in a regular proceeding, if that makes sense. So your objection is noted. Thank you.
Could I continue?
Yes.
Okay, so with Exhibit D, should I read it as well?
No, I have reviewed the exhibits that you submitted, and I believe you
Okay.
did submit copies to the plaintiff as well.
I did. The gate wasn't properly secure. Roxy, has not gotten out and attacked anyone ever. So when I was told of the incident, I was heartbroken, because I'm a dog lover and I would never want anything like that to happen to anyone's dog. And I was taken aback because my Roxy has never done anything like that before. When I was leaving for work, which was probably around 6:45, between 6:45 and 6:50, Officer Mears came and she explained to me the incident. And when she told me, I thought, not Roxy. Roxy, no, it couldn't have been Roxy. But Roxy did, in fact, get out the gate because my neighbor brought her back home. And in Exhibit E, she describes bringing Roxy back home and Roxy allowing her to pet her. The interactions that my neighbors have had with Roxy, one noted in Exhibit F, has always been docile, friendly. She's had play dates with my neighbor's dog, and there's been no issues. She's been gentle with kids. I have a 16-year-old daughter now. We don't have very many young children in our family, but I allowed my god sister and her family to live with me. In Exhibit O, my god sister speaks about the interaction that my Roxy had with her infant son. And there's pictures, Exhibit P, Q, R, and S, shows pictures of the interactions that Roxy's had with Titus. That's my nephew. I do have a video, if you would like to see it, if I could share my screen, of Titus and Roxy interacting, if you'd like.
I appreciate that. I do believe that the pictures are sufficient at this point.
Okay. So when Officer Mears told me of the incident, I almost didn't believe it. So she gave me the citation, I believe maybe the next day or so, I don't know, but she did explain to me some of the things that I could expect. I asked her, I said, like, could they take my Roxy from me? And she said, no, it's unlikely that it would happen on the first incident. And I said, okay, what should I expect, you know? And she just kind of ran through the process, and I said, okay, and she left. And I did get statements from my neighbors. There is an older couple that lives across the street from me who sits out on their porch often. Charles Reed and Joan Reed, exhibits A and B, they described what they saw happen on that day. They described that you've read it.
Yes.
So I don't know because I wasn't out there. I don't know exactly what happened. I know my dog's character, and that's totally out of her character. I have since bought a new gate lock for my gate because the mechanism in which my gate locks now, you have to have the lock inside the hole in order for it to be properly secure. So I bought a chain to go around both sides of the gate to lock, as well as an invisible fence for my yard. Also, when and if Roxy is able to come home, I did enroll her in a training program that will correct any behaviors that I'm missing, or help her for this not to happen again. It's a 3-week program with I believe it's a lifetime like refresher course that will be available to her and I. I just want to reiterate that Roxy is not a monster. She is a part of my family, and exhibits G, H, and I, you know, it shows that she's a part of our family. You know, she's not just my dog. She's been there for me during some of the most difficult times in my life. And it's unfortunate that everything has happened the way that it has. But I just want the courts to know that she's not a monster, and this is not her character.
I do have a couple of questions for you as well.
Yes.
Starting with some questions about so first, the invisible fence. What is the perimeter for that?
I have it here.
Okay. It hasn't been installed yet?
No, not yet. I believe this part goes around her. But no, it has not been installed yet.
Okay. Okay, is that the sort of thing where there's a cable that gets buried under the ground, or is it something where you set a perimeter like with an app?
I think you set a perimeter with an app.
Okay. Can your dog jump the fence?
No.
How high is the fence?
The fence is about 6 feet.
Have you installed the lock for the gate yet?
Yes. And I want to mention that my gardener and I have discussed and come to an agreement that whenever he's finished, he'll let me know and I'll lock the gate.
Okay. Is it common for you to leave her out in the backyard without any supervision?
Yes, I do. She runs around, she plays with the neighbors' dogs on either side. She chases squirrels, she plays in the backyard and uses the bathroom and then comes back in. Sometimes my daughter will go out and swing on the swing that we have and throw the ball around and play with her. But she does get let out to use the bathroom, stays out there for maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then will come back in.
So you're saying that she'll go out to use the bathroom, stay out for a fairly short period of time. So in this instance, she was obviously outside, you were asleep.
Yeah, my daughter was home. My daughter's 16 now. So she lets her out and lets her in, as she needs to go when I'm not available to.
Okay. Is she frequently left outside for hours at a time?
No, never for hours at a time.
Is she up to date on all of her vaccinations?
Yes.
Specifically rabies?
Yes, and she has a vet appointment on the 19th because I believe in September she'll be due for a couple of her vaccinations. I'm not familiar with some of the names, but in September she'll be due for like 2 vaccines that she needs.
So before I make my ruling, I am going to ask both sides. Attorney Mullen, did you have any questions that you wanted me to direct towards Ms. McQueen?
Okay. First off, can I show a picture to Miss McQueen and she can just tell us what it is if she knows?
Yes.
Miss McQueen, is that your fence and your dog?
Yes.
And it was your testimony earlier that the dog cannot hop that fence.
Correct.
If your dog put his paws up, he'd be able to touch the top of that.
Attorney Mullen, you remember you're directing questions towards me and not towards Ms. McQueen. Thank you.
I apologize. You know that I'm just wired the way I was questioning her, and I do apologize. Magistrate, is it Braley? Magistrate
Yes.
Braley? I'm asking about the testimony regarding a 6-foot fence.
Yes.
And whether or not the dog could hop it. My questions would be, how tall is the dog?
And that is a fair question, Ms. McQueen. Do you know how tall your dog is when she stands up?
So when she stands up, she can put her hands on my shoulders. The fence is probably not 6 feet. My mistake. It's not 6 feet because I'm not 6 feet and it's not taller than me. So the gate probably comes up to here to my chest. No, she cannot jump the fence. She has never tried to jump the fence. She put her paws on top of the fence and she tore her paw. So she's even apprehensive to putting her hand on the fence. So no, she's not gonna jump the fence. She has not tried to jump the fence.
Thank you.
Could you ask Miss McQueen how much the dog weighs? And specifically, if she knows the breed the dog is.
Ms. McQueen?
My dog is a Cane Corso and she weighs 123 pounds. She did before entering the Humane Society. She's lost weight and she's gotten weaker.
Another question I would have is if Miss McQueen has had other dogs, specifically other large dogs previously.
Ms. McQueen?
I have had a boxer. I have been in this neighborhood since 2014. When I moved here, I had my boxer. His name was Apollo. He was about maybe 80 pounds.
Okay. Anything else, Attorney Mullen?
Do you know anything specifically about the Cane Corso breed? Where it was developed or what its uses are?
I don't see that that is necessarily relevant given this particular dog, Attorney Mullen.
Well, Your Honor, I think it's relevant because we're talking about a specific breed. There's breed characteristics in all dogs. And I'm curious if she's aware of the breed characteristics of a Cane Corso. Because we're talking about the behavior of this breed. I know we've heard testimony specifically from her of her interaction with the dog, but I'm just curious if she's aware of the breed's characteristics.
And while I appreciate that your line of questioning here, I'm going to be making a ruling on whether or not this specific dog is a dangerous animal. And I am not looking to rule on whether or not any and all Cane Corsos, regardless of whether or not they date back to Roman times, are in fact dangerous animals. Did you have any other questions?
Where did Miss McQueen get the dog? And how old was it when she received the dog?
Ms. McQueen?
So Roxy came into my life when I was going through a divorce with my last husband. He got the dog from some breeder in Romulus. I don't know who. Roxy was probably 2 or 3 months at the time. And we developed a bond.
Ms. McQueen, did you have any questions that you wanted to direct towards the plaintiffs?
I'm curious because I spoke with my neighbor and she said that a private investigator came out asking questions about Roxy. Are you able to let me know what you discovered or found out? Is that something that can be shared?
Want me to answer that or no?
So I suppose you can answer it. I don't know that that falls within the scope of what we're talking about today either.
Okay.
So the court is ready to rule in this matter, and just as a reminder, you do have the ability to appeal my decision. Attorney Mullen, you look like you were going to say something.
Yeah, I'm sure the court seems very familiar with the issues in this case. Under MCL 287.321, which is a dangerous animal statute, is what we filed this under.
Yes.
And basically, I want to read the law into the record, but the law talks about an animal that bites or attacks a person or causes serious injury or death to another dog while it's on the property or under the control of its owners. And then it goes on to say a dangerous dog isn't, and it includes, a dog that's on its own property attacking a trespasser, a dog that's provoked or tormented to attack, and then finally, a dog who responds in an ordinary and reasonable person would conclude it was designed to protect a person if that person is engaged in a lawful activity or subject of an assault, like a self-defense of somebody.
Yes.
I don't think any of those apply. Those exceptions apply to this case. It talks about if a dog seriously injures or almost kills another dog. And I think that it's evident from the evidence that's been put forth that it was an unprovoked attack on an animal that was serious, and it wasn't on its property, it wasn't being provoked, and it wasn't protecting its owner. So it falls within the dangerous dog statute as it's provided here. And since we're not talking about any dog, it's just this dog, we know this dog was engaged in this behavior. And I understand, I'm a dog lover and dog owner and a large dog owner. We've heard a lot about the dog getting along and great with the family, but we're talking specifically about a dog that attacked another dog, not who bit the neighbor's kid. That would be a separate reason of looking at this very dangerous dog. And as the court saw, the injuries to the dog weren't minor. It's not like he snatched the dog up and let it go and it had a little tooth mark in it this was a very vicious bite to this dog and would have killed the dog had not Mr. Giroux intervened. So I want to put that into this record based on what the law says and what facts we heard and why I think our position is what it is.
Okay. Was that your closing statement?
Pretty much. I know that of all these things, Your Honor, I just want to get it out.
Okay.
Now that we have a record, as opposed to making an opening claiming all these things that no one's ever testified to.
Okay. Thank you. So I will note that in regards to 287.321, that you did characterize that correctly. A dangerous animal means a dog or other animal that bites or attacks a person, or a dog that bites or attacks and causes serious injury or death to another dog while that other dog is under the control of its owner. So yes, clearly Mr. Giroux's dog Issa was under his control at the time. The part of the statute here that the court is interpreting is what a serious injury is in this case. And I am not trying to discount how frightening this occurrence was or how horrible the injury was, because it's quite bad. It required a lot of stitches. A serious injury is defined in Section E as a permanent serious disfigurement, serious impairment of health, or the serious impairment of the bodily function of a person. So in regards to what exactly is meant by a serious disfigurement, the law doesn't specifically define what serious disfigurement would be. So the injury in this case, it seems to be healing well. It was infected but responded well to treatment. It's been sutured. The sutures are out. The wound seems to be healing. Issa had a pre-existing limp. Mr. Giroux, you testified that her limp seems to be slightly worse, but she's in good spirits. It sounds like she's going to have a scar, but at this time, looking at the facts here, and also looking at Ms. McQueen's behavior and how she has responded to all of this, I will also point everyone towards In re Tato. That's a state of Michigan Court of Appeals case. And, you know, the dog in that particular case, you know, somewhat similar incident. A dog attacked a couple of smaller dogs and bit one of the smaller dogs on the ear. As a result, the smaller dog's owner sustained some scratches and things because she was actually pulled to the ground while she was holding onto her dog. But, you know, I did not hear testimony, certainly, that at any point Roxy appeared to be attempting to attack anybody other than Issa. And in regards to Issa's injury, it is my interpretation that it falls more in line with the equivalent injury in this In re Tato case, which it wasn't great. There were sutures, everything was very frightening, but at the end of the day, Issa has survived, she is healing well, and it seems that she's going to be okay. It also seems that Ms. McQueen is taking the proper steps to mitigate the chances of this happening again. She's got the invisible fence that she's purchased. She's already gotten a new gate lock for the gate so that the issue with the gate being unsecured shouldn't happen again. She's got training lined up. I will point out as well that it doesn't sound like, you know, Roxy disengaged at about the same time that Mr. Giroux and his dogs disengaged. She didn't chase him down the street, continuing to try to eat Issa or Khufu. So, at this time, it is the court's ruling. I am not finding Roxy at this time to be a dangerous animal. I will also note, because this is a hearing solely on whether or not Roxy is being ruled as a dangerous animal, this has nothing to do with whether or not Ms. McQueen is also being charged with a misdemeanor for having a nuisance animal that could conceivably result in restitution. So that's an entirely separate matter. As far as today, my ruling is based on what I've just stated, that Roxy is not a dangerous animal, and I am not ordering her to be put down. Ms. McQueen, I will order that you can pick her up from the Humane Society. And just for
Sorry.
so, as stated, this decision can be appealed. It would be reheard by the judge de novo. So, that does not mean that this is over. Ms. McQueen, okay, so, but at this time the court has made its ruling.
Well, we appreciate the time, and thank you, Your Honor. I'll follow up with our appellate rights, and we'll set Ms. McQueen once we file the appeal. All right?
Okay.
Appreciate it.
When can I go and get her?
Okay, so Ms. McQueen, I'm gonna have you stick around for a minute. Give me, because I'm actually going to see if I can handle the arraignment on the misdemeanor.
Okay, thank you.
Otherwise, you're scheduled to come back for that next week. But I think since you're already here, I'll see if I can get the public defender here and just handle them together.
Okay.
As far as when you can go get her, I'll draft something up, and if you get there before they close, then conceivably today.
Thank you.
Okay, so Ms. McQueen, I'm going to give the public defender about 5 minutes to come back, and if she does, great. If she doesn't, then you get to come see me again August 20th for an arraignment, okay?
Okay. Okay.
So just remain muted for the moment.
Okay.
Thank you, Attorney Moten. You ready? Okay. Now calling case number 25W001080. This is Ypsilanti Township versus Elaine Lee McQueen. Can I have appearances for the record, please?
Council Moten on behalf of Ms. McQueen. State your name for the record, ma'am.
I'm Elaine McQueen.
Okay, thank you. So this was to be an arraignment that was initially scheduled for August 20th at 1:30 p.m. However, we are handling it today. So what I have here is a citation from July 16th, 2025 that charges that on or about that date, your dog was off of your property and you're being cited for having a noisy, nuisance, or vicious dog. So in this instance, your dog Roxy was off your property and bit another dog, causing an injury. So this is a misdemeanor. It has a potential maximum penalty of up to 90 days in jail, a $500 fine plus court costs or both. Do you understand all of that?
Yes.
Okay. So you do have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say out loud or in writing can be used against you in court. You have the right to be presumed innocent beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to a trial by judge or by jury. You have the right to be represented by an attorney during all stages of these court proceedings, that is before, during, and after trial. You are not required to disclose citizenship status to the court, but you do have the right to consult with an attorney to see if this case would have any effect on your citizenship status. If that last part doesn't apply to you, don't worry about it. So, any questions about your rights?
No.
Okay, thank you. Attorney Moten, do you want to address the plea and the bond?
Yes, Ms. McQueen will stand mute to the charges and request a personal bond.
Okay. So at this time, the court is going to set a pretrial conference date. That will be August 26th. That will be at 9 in the morning over Zoom in front of me. The township prosecutor will be there on that date. The court will set a personal recognizance bond at this time. So I am going to set the following condition, which is I have already told you today that you are allowed to go pick up your dog. You are to keep your dog confined to your premises. Okay, she's not to leave your yard. She is to be leashed. Okay, so if you fail to appear for that next court date, or if anything else happens with Roxy in the intervening time period, then a bench warrant could issue for your arrest. Okay, can you unmute, please?
Okay.
Okay.
And, Your Honor, may I advocate for a bond condition as the victim?
You may.
Your Honor, in addition to the conditions that you've listed, I would ask for a condition that the dog must be muzzled anytime it's outside of the house, since it's shown a propensity to get out of its yard. And I would additionally ask for some sort of tether to secure it in its backyard that's fit for a dog of its weight.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Drew. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. McQueen, regarding the request of Mr. Drew, the court is going to order that you install a tether in the backyard. So you can pick one up at any sort of pet store, probably Meijer as well. Something that is suitable to hold a dog of her weight, okay, and keep her in the backyard.
Okay. When you say tether, is the wireless fence not sufficient?
So I think at least for the pendency of this case, something that people can actually see with their eyes would be a good idea. Okay, so we will, I'm not discounting the invisible fence, but an actual visible tether, at least for the pendency of this case.
Okay, I've never heard of that, but I'll look into it and get it.
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes.
that also is obviously in something that Ms. McQueen will have to pay for. And she hasn't expressed any means to be able to do that. So is there a time period of when this is expected? And just a little more clarification will probably be helpful to her. She already has a civil case. Now we're here in the criminal court.
Yes. Okay. So, Ms. McQueen, is that something that you could reasonably have installed by August 25th, the day before?
What's that? The wireless fence or
A tether?
Possibly. I don't know how much a tether costs. I don't know where to get. I'm sure maybe Amazon that has everything, but I've never heard of a tether for a dog before.
And was the other condition that the dog is leashed to the back, right, and stays in the yard?
And that's kind of, so I was ordering a leash while the dog is outside. That's basically what I'm still talking about here. So I will say that when I put my dog outside, there's a leash that I have attached to a metal thing that's in the ground that clips to his harness for when he goes outside. So he's attached to that. And that's what I'm talking about here. They don't tend to be particularly expensive, but I'm trying to find a picture of what I'm talking about.
So, excuse me. So for along with the two locks that I have on the gate, the wireless dog fence, I need to get a tether and a long leash for her to be attached to in the backyard.
So yeah, it's something that she'd still be able to run around in the backyard, but it's going to be a visible indication that she can't leave the fenced-in area.
Okay, so a tight leash looks acceptable. I mean, I can share that with her, but it just almost sounds like this is an additional condition from what you already stated, but it sounds like I don't know if he's asking for something additional, but it seems sufficient what you already said without anything from him being added on. And I know typically they don't even comment victims at this stage, but.
Think of it more as a clarification of what I was trying to say. Something that's attached to the backyard that is a visible indication that she can't get out of the backyard because you can see it, okay? As much as I appreciate an invisible fence. Okay, I'm not ordering a muzzle at this time.
Am I able to walk her? Can I walk her? That's important to her health, and she's been in the Humane Society locked up in a cage, and she's very weak.
How long of a leash do you usually walk her on?
I have a headgear, and I have a leash that attaches to her headgear that attaches to my waist. So that's, I don't know how many feet it is. I don't know.
It's
Maybe.
not something like a retractable thing that lets her go.
No.
How many times a day do you usually walk her?
2.
Okay. So that is fine. However, you're not to have any contact with Mr. Giroux or his wife.
Okay, that's fine.
So that's the sort of thing where, as a person with bond conditions being placed on you, if you see him, hear him, anything, you go in the opposite direction.
Okay.
Okay. So As stated, the court's ordering a personal recognizance bond at this time. Now, I will note that if any of the bond violations, or if any of the bond conditions are violated, or if you fail to appear for that next court date, a bench warrant could issue for your arrest. Attorney Moten, did you have anything else?
Sorry, having issues with my mouse. No, that's all for me. Thank you. If I could just go in the breakout room with Ms. McLean.
Yes,
but
so
that's all.
two of you in a breakout room so you can exchange contact information. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. I hope you and your staff have a nice afternoon.
Okay, thank you. You're free to sign out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go into the breakout room.